So looking good to the outside, I think is something that it doesn't have to be related to mental health. I think it's everyone, every kid, every person that grew up when they're little, they go through something like that, right? So when you're a kid, I think before you reach the age of probably elementary school, right, first grade, kids don't really care too much about appearances, right? They should be pretty secure in general about themselves, unless their parents or they're raised in a way where they become insecure, right, about their appearance or personality or anything. But usually, kids, if they're raised properly, by the time they reach the 6 or 7, when they're ready to go to school, they should be secure, or at least not insecure about outside stuff, how they look and how much money they have and what clothes or toy they have. So that's how most kids should be raised, is to be a secure kid. However, as we grow up, there's a thing called peer pressure, right? I think a lot of you probably already heard of it or experienced it, and so everyone go through peer pressure, especially during teenage years, right? So peer pressure is basically you look at what your peers have, or you look at what your friends have, your classmates have, your siblings, cousins. I think that kind of goes with mentally too, right? It doesn't have to be materialistic. It could be just looking happy. So basically, peer pressure is the need. It gave us the need to measure up to our peers, right? Whether it's materialistic or mentally, right? If everyone around you seems to be happy, which is very important, they seem to be happy. Whether they really have struggles or not, you can't really see. And I went through the same struggle too, right? So whenever you're unhappy or you have anger, it really seems to you that you're the only one that feel that way. You know what I mean? However, if you just talk to any person in a little bit more detail, and if they're willing to share their life or just a little bit problem they go through with you, you can see that a lot of people are struggling with different things, major or minor problems. So everyone has their struggles. The problem is we don't see it. We don't see what's behind the curtain, right? So that goes back to the social media thing. I have to say, just based on myself and people that I know, I had a friend who went through some very bad episode in life, right? But if you look at this person's social media, it's still the most cheerful person that you will see on the social media. You know what I mean? So I think there's two reasons to it, right? I think the major reason for a lot of people that have problems, but they look happy on the outside and they look like they don't have a problem, then you doubt yourself. You're like, okay, how come I'm so unhappy while everyone else is okay, right? Because I went through a similar mindset whenever I have depression or anxiety. Whenever I was at my lowest point, that's when I look at others and I only look at the good things, the happy things they're showing, right? So you're not really looking at what's happening in their life. Unless you're God or someone, you can't really see what people go through behind closed door, at home. You can't really see that. And for a lot of people, I must say, some of the people that are willing to show their vulnerability, some people are very open, right? They post everything on social media, or they talk about everything going on in their life to their friends or people around them. So it kind of, you have a very good picture of what's going on in this person's life, right? Whether they're having a great time or they're having some struggles. So that's pretty rare, I would say. Okay, a lot of the average people, they don't really share private stuff with with the world, you know, unless it's major event, like when people have kids or when people get married, start a relationship or something like that, they might post something like that on social media, right? But just whenever they feel down, feel sad, or feel angry, a lot of people, they won't post it on social media. But that doesn't mean they're totally happy every day, all the time. So another example, so the average people don't really post something unless it's like significant event that they want to share with the world. There's also a small group of people where I call very proud people, right? People that have huge egos, people that care a lot about appearances, status, right? Materialistic stuff or whatever. So I think those people, especially, you're not gonna see them showing any vulnerability, even if they're getting through a lawsuit, they're getting sued, they're getting fired or whatever. You're not gonna see them talking about it to public because they care too much about their face, right, and image. So let me read the comment real quick. That people do it on social media, that they pretend. Yes. So you have no idea. Like, I would say, even when I was younger, right? I'm in my 30s now. But when I was a teenager, or when I was in my 20s, I feel the peer pressure, right? Because when I say peer pressure, it's not just about materialistic stuff. It's also about the mental and the image, right? So when all your friends, when they all do different things on social media or not, you want to do, like, you want to measure up to them at least, you know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily mean that is exactly how you feel, or that is all they have, you know what I mean? I used to have some friends and family that I really look up to, right? I really respect them and I look up to them. I want to become like them. And a lot of it is actually because when I was young, I don't know what their life really is or what they are like a person. I just hear stories about their success, like I'm putting a quotation mark here. And I look at their social media and it seems like they have it all figured out, you know. They seem very confident, they seem happy, they seem like they have all the things, right? And that's what you see on social media. So don't take it too seriously when you look at it on social media. It's later on that I find, some of them have gambling problems, some of them are broke, some of them have relationship problem. So you don't see it on social media, but they are struggling too, you know what I mean? So don't take social media posts that seriously, especially for some people. The worse they feel, they want to post a picture of them feeling better, you know what I mean? Just as an image. So let me keep reading. I'm not mentally okay and I pretend that I'm okay. So any suggestions? So I think, I definitely think you can be open with your family and friends, right? If you don't really talk to them, I would suggest first, talk to them privately about your problem. It's okay if you want to say, oh, I'm just feeling really down or whatever. But be careful of posting if you have depression or some mental illness on social media, you know what I mean? Because just in case some people might judge you and they're not going to make you feel better, right? But if it's just family and friends that you trusted, like last time I mentioned, it's okay to be vulnerable and share the difficulty you go through with family and friends. The only thing that I would say to be cautious about is to sharing it to a large audience, sharing on the internet or with people that you don't know, because there are trolls, right? There are some people that they might just attack you just for you to feel worse, and them just it doesn't really benefit you. But yeah, definitely, there are some people, you don't have to say you have something mentally going on, right? You can just start with I'm having a bad day, bad week, or bad month, looking for some support here. Just post something like that on your social media if you want to, and see if you can get some help from people that support you. That's a small way to start, I would say. And then if you feel like there's a lot of people supporting you, you can share more, or you can just find the people that you really want to talk about from the people that support you and talk to them privately. I definitely would say I prefer talking to people privately instead of on social media, because especially when it comes to mental illness or mental health struggles, I think a lot of people, even though they might have good intention, they might really care about you, but they don't really understand it, right? Instead of having them worry and think negatively and don't know what to do, it's probably better to start with a safer message, right? I'm just having a bad day, bad week, whatever, looking for some support, and then talk to people privately, instead of posting on social media. Yeah, and what if in real life people don't care? Okay, so that's a very good question. What about people don't care? So let me ask you this. When you say people don't care, I have a couple questions to that, right? First of all, who are you saying are the people that don't care? Are you talking about your family, friends, or just some acquaintances that you have on social media? I talk to people that I've been friends with for 6 years, so that's tough, right? So let me ask you this. When you say friends of 6 years, when you say they don't care, what did you tell them and what's their response? I told them I've been dealing with self-harm and some sort of depression. They haven't changed a bit, nothing, just like nothing happened. I think here's the thing, right? So I think it's really I'm proud of you for being able to be vulnerable and talk to your friends about what's going through with you. But I think you guys are still all in school, right? Am I understanding it correctly? So just my 2 cents here. So I think it's very hard, especially the self-harm part. Let me talk about self-harm and depression separately. So when it comes to depression, it's really hard for people that don't have it. Yeah, but different schools, yeah. So they're still pretty young, right? Just like you. So even for depression, it's really hard for people that never had it to understand what it means. Like I said, when I had it, I was close to 30. And even before that, until I actually experienced it, I don't really know what it means. Before, they have people talk about celebrity being depressed, so-and-so being depressed. I just thought they're being sad. You know what I mean? They're just constantly being sad. It's all in their head. That's what I thought before I personally got depression. So I would say don't be too hard on them not understanding it. You know what I mean? It's really hard for people, especially if they're much younger. If they don't have an anxiety problem or depression, they'll probably not understand. I don't know if you ever talk to a professional. So let us know if you ever talk to a professional. And while you answer that question, let me address the self-harm part, right? How it sound like to your friend, right? So last time I was talking about anger and rage with you guys. So I think you remember the story of my friend that cut his own leg, right? I really think now I think back to that year. I think he probably had depression at the time. It just come out as anger instead of sadness, right? So as someone who doesn't know anything about mental health, right? Or just some common people, young people that are your friends or family. If you just talk to them about you're constantly hurting yourself or you have this rage, they might just think you have anger issue. They would not think it's related to any pain you're going through, or you might have depression or some other mental health, disorders that's hurting you, right? It's gonna take someone who actually know mental health issues themselves, experienced it, or some professionals or people that actually study it to understand what that means. I feel bad that they didn't really understand it and they didn't react the way that you want them to. They didn't change the way they talk to you, right? So let me ask you this. So now you know they didn't change not because they really don't care about you. I wouldn't go that far. I would just say they didn't change because of their ignorance of what you're going through, right? So what exactly were you expecting from them? So what were you looking for after you told them what happened? What do you want them to respond? Like, how do you want them to handle the situation? They know it's not just anger issues. Yes, I think they might know it's something with like mental health or psychology, right? But they might still don't like my parents, my grandparents to this day don't really know what depression is. It's just they become a little bit less judgmental of it, There's this mental health stigma all over the world that if someone has any mental health problem, instead of thinking, oh, this person just have a cold or have, diabetes or heart disease, we think they're mentally crazy or retarded, but that's not, right? We know that's not true. But for some of the people where they really don't know, they might still think that way. You know what I mean? So let me keep reading. Like, for example, like women giving birth, right? We all know it's very painful, right? But exactly how painful it is, unless you actually went through that, you can't really tell. You know what I mean? So people might empathize with that, and some people might not because they just don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe suggest and realize that I'm in pain. Yeah, I understand that need. I would say that's one of my frustration with one of my friends before I quit my job. And let me tell you this. Not understanding my pain, minimizing my pain, and even being toxic to me, that just means I need better friends, to be honest. It's hard to swallow. I understand. It's hard to deal with when your friend don't understand. But let me tell you this, you need to be friends with people that understand you and can support you, It's not saying to unfriend the people that don't support you, but just saying keep some safe distance. If you just can't get through the message to them and let them realize how much pain you're in, stop doing that. Try to go to people that understand. You can just try to talk to some counselors in your school, that are in charge of students' well-being and mental health. Try to start there. I assume that's free, right? So you can start there, and they already kind of know you since you're in the school. So I'm just scared of the part of getting the help. So yeah, I understand it's difficult, especially when it comes to mental health, right? If you just have a cold, or if you have some heart problem or stomach problem, if you have the flu, even some people, they don't want to go to the doctor, right? So especially with mental health, I totally get how scary it is, because in a lot of TV shows and movies, right, they portray people that have mental health problems kind of like crazy, right? When people mention mental health in a lot of countries and areas, you immediately think about a mental institution where people are tied to a chair, and all those horrible stuff. But that's way far beyond what normal mental health struggle and what normal people go through. It took me about a year or a few months to actually talk to a therapist, but once you talk to them, it really feels like you just walk in to get your eye exam or something. You just talk to someone one-on-one privately in an office, and that person is trained professional. They should be open, and they won't judge you. They'll just listen to your story and tell you, to see if they can help you, So it's just like making a new friend, except that they're professional, so they know how to help you with your pain. And if I really want to get better, I'm gonna need long-term stuff. I just can't stop right here. I'm too deep in this. Yeah, I agree. Usually mental health, even just some mild anxiety, right? I think it definitely takes long-term therapy, or at least even if you don't do therapy or see a psychiatrist or doctor long-term, you still need to practice some of the mental health practice yourself long-term to have a healthy mindset, right?